Hey, what's up guys? Today I wanted to show you guys how I color grade images in DaVinci Resolve, take you through a little more of a complex workflow and then a little bit of a more simplistic workflow that's only a node tree. If you guys have any questions, leave them down below and leave a comment. Please like and subscribe to this video and I hope y'all enjoy. Let's get to it.
Just one more taste of adrenaline. Free falling fast is the medicine. Got a need for speed, 10,000 feet, jumping off the peak. Water's way below, but I'm diving in. Pushing limits, feel the fire. Pushing limits, burning brighter. Pushing limits, rising higher. Always gonna give more. This is what we live for. This is what we live for. This is what we live for. Chase the eye of a hurricane.
Alright guys, so we're going to hop into DaVinci Resolve. We're going to start out with some drone shots and then we're going to hop to some handheld shots. If you're wondering what cameras I'm using, for the drone I'm using the Mavic 3 Pro, and for the handheld shots I'm either using a Sony a7S III and a Sony a1. If you're wondering why that matters, I'll explain that as we walk through this process. Can't wait for y'all to enjoy this and open DaVinci Resolve up and let's get to it. Okay, so first we're going to start out with this drone shot. What I like to do for my first node, and I'll be labeling these as we go through, is my exposure. Okay, so I'm going to be messing with the exposure of the shot right here, all right? And you can see I'm not doing a lot, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring some contrast back into my shot without just using contrast. So you can see that I'm using details. So if we look down here at my lift, I'm at -0.03, so the slightest adjustment. Okay, my gain is 0.98, so I actually brought my gain down a little bit, and you're going to see why, because we're going to be looking at the whites, and the whites would be blown out if we were to stay at 1. Then the gamma, which is going to be all the mid-tones and kind of the information in between shadows and highlights, is going to be we're going to want to bring it up. All right, so you can see that I brought it to a 0.05. We haven't done anything with our offset, which is also like a way to adjust the global settings of your frame. Then, since it's a drone shot, one thing I know that if I'm shooting in DJI D-Log, there's noise. Almost every time there's gonna be noise, even if you're shooting correctly, which the shot's exposed correctly. So I immediately add noise, and you're gonna hardly be able to tell, but at the end, you'll be able to totally notice that. I bring it to 37.6 just to make it seem like it's a nice adjustment. Then let's hop over to node 5. Okay, node 5, you can see right here, we have color space transform. The input color space is DJI D gamut, and then you may be saying, oh wait, why did he change it to RE log C4? Okay, well this is a gamma that I love to use, and it has nothing to do with DJI, but this is a preference, okay? And you're gonna see why I use this. And then obviously my output color spacing and output gamma is Rec709 gamma 2.4. So, as soon as I adjust that, let's come back out. I'm gonna close that out. You can see we're already really starting to get a punch just from that. And we're really just bringing the colors that are there, okay? Then from there, what I do is I actually bring a small neutral LUT on. This is from a Phantom LUT pack. And what I'm doing with this is just to give my tint and my settings ready. So you can see it's the slightest adjustment, but it just gets my greens to pop the way I kind of want them and my blues, but it's not exact, okay? So you should never end with just a LUT. All right, so then we're gonna hop over to 3. And then you can see, oh, here he's using a curve. And on my curve, I'm not using all the curves. I'm actually only using my plain exposure curve. And you can see I'm bringing up the shadows ever so slightly. I'm keeping the midtones pretty similar, and then I'm bringing up my highlights. And the reason I'm able to do that is because, remember, that exposure node, I made all the corrections beforehand, okay? So you can see we're just bringing the image up a little bit. Then we hop into 4. 4 is where I like to make color adjustments. So if we go into our color hue versus hue on our curve, you can see I'm bringing the greens up ever so slightly, a little more towards yellow. And then with my saturation, you can see I'm bringing the yellows up in the frame ever so slightly. You guys see these adjustments are not major. And then I'm bringing the greens down, okay? Because I want it to look realistic. I don't want it to look fake. Then with my blues, I want this pool to not look fake. So I'm making sure that the pool, we bring down that luminance of the pool, which you can see just ever so slightly. Then with the grass, with the trees, with the yellows and greens, I'm totally bringing the luminance up because we want that to really stand out and we want it to feel balanced all throughout. Then 7, if you're wondering what 7 is, this is an extra node I use for whenever I need an extra color correction, which here I did not. But then here, you can see I created a mask. And this is just a little tiny gradient. And if you click Shift H, you can see the gradient I'm using. And this is just to correct the ocean and the beach, because this is gonna be a little different than what I'm trying to do in the entirety of my image. So this isn't gonna affect the rest of the image because I'm using a gradient. Then for my final one, if I wanted to add grain, that's what I use that for. But you can see these two, 7 and 9, are not being used. All right, that may have seemed a little complicated. It's gonna get easier, okay? That's a little more of a complex drone grade in DaVinci Resolve. You can see I'm also using the exact same, and since I'm screen recording, my computer may be a little slow, so bear with me. Here you can see I'm doing the exact same thing. The whole process is exactly similar. So this is how the image starts. So I'm going to turn off all these. I'm going to walk you through it again. Obviously, this is a beautiful frame just as is, but I want to balance my image. And you can see in the scopes, I'm kind of just trying to bring everything in a little more at first to start, not stretching it yet. Then I'm obviously applying my noise ever so slightly. 37.6 is my luma threshold and my chroma threshold. Then remember, we're gonna hop over to our color space transform. That's where I'm gonna really actually bring the punch in, which is gonna bring the accuracy and go for the camera. I'm wanting it to replicate an ARRI. That's kind of like the film and movie standard in today's world. So you can see that looks really pleasing, and like it comes from this flat image and gives us a really nice pop. Then you can see right here, this is where I'm bringing that slight LUT pack, and I want it to feel fiery orange. I want these mountains to really look and feel like they're burning from the sun, which is exactly what we're doing. Now, let's hop back to 3, and you can see I'm ever so slightly bringing the curves up. Show you ever so slightly. Okay, and then you can see 4 is empty, 7's empty, 8's empty, and 9's empty. I leave these empty, but if I ever need them, I know where they are. And you see how easy it is when that's sitting in your gallery and you're able to then bring it to the image. So I already have this exact node graph ready to go. That's what you would call a power grade, okay? Stills will only be within the one project you're working on. Power grades can transfer from any project. As you can see, these are all from different projects, but they're gonna stay there. Now, let's hop over to this shot. I want to show you guys a much easier way that I'm going about this, okay? So, first things first, I like to apply a little LUT, okay? So, give us a second. Okay, so first things first, we're gonna apply a LUT. This is a LUT that I made called the Rec709 Convert, all right? So when we do that, you can see, we're just bringing our image to a Rec709 Convert. Then I like to add one node, and I'm gonna show you guys my simple one node plus my Rec709 Convert process, all right? All I'm gonna work in is the color wheels, and you're gonna see what I'm gonna do here, okay? I'm looking at my information and nothing is crushed yet. So I'm gonna pull down my lift just ever so slightly. I'm gonna pull up my highlights ever so slightly. I'm obviously paying attention to the clouds and then the blacks and the shadows. So for example, here, here, and some stuff here. Then I wanna look at my gain and I wanna be making sure everything's popping a good amount. So about -2. And then here's a really cool trick inside DaVinci Resolve. There's a color boost and that's in the bottom corner. You can see I'm now bringing quite a bit of color from where we started to where we are now. So you can see I'm really starting to like the look of this. Now, what I want to do is inside the same node, I want to come here real quick and I want to make sure I have a little S curve ever so slightly. And you can see, you may like stuff brighter like that. I like to have a little more in the shadows and a little more there. Look at how slight every adjustment I made and how big of a difference it creates. Now, let's say, oh, okay, Jack, I like the image, but it feels like I could do a little better in the clouds. Well, no worries. Let's just hop over here. Let's get a selection for the blues in our sky, because they're a little too baby blue for my taste. And then I'm just gonna widen my hue versus hue, and then I'm gonna grab this middle one, and you can see, oh, purple, no, we don't want that. And now we're starting to get somewhere. I really like that. So then, don't forget to do the second step. Grab that saturation, do the exact same thing. Hue versus sat is only going to affect our saturation. So then, you can see I completely mute it over the top. We don't want over the top. You may want under, but for me, because I really want this to look spectacular, you know, eye poppy, I'm gonna do that. But there's one other color I'm seeing that I wanna affect, and that is the red of the vineyard barn. So I'm gonna go ahead right here and make a selection. You see it's making the points for me. Now, if I bring that way up or way down, you can see what it's affecting. I like way up for this example. And I'm gonna pull this so it's a softer curve. Same thing over here. And let's look at what our image looks like as a whole. Look at this. This is 2 nodes, people. Boom, boom. You saw that process right there. Okay. Now, let's say, oh, I kind of like that. I like how it's easier for you when it's only 2 nodes. Well, let's hop over to stills. Let's create a still right here. You can use B as a shortcut, or you can just control click and click grab still. Now you can see the grab still is right here. Well, let's hop over to the next shot. Here's a shot right here. One tip I want to give y'all is find the hero frame, because obviously you see a lot of this footage. Well, I know I'm wanting to use that shot right there. Like, that's my hero frame. So let's go ahead and apply that grade. Now you can see we've applied that. Well, it's not done, okay? That's not gonna be the one all fix all. And sometimes what I'll even do, and I wanna do this for y'all to show, is look, I just reset the node grade. Now we're gonna walk through that exact process one more time. So let's pull down our lift ever so slightly. Don't need to crush. And let's pull down our highlights, go up with our highlights, and see what we're liking. I want to come down because I see a little overexposure right here. Then I want to see what I can do with my gain. And I like 0.03. Then let's grab some color boost. Starting to get somewhere. I like that. Let's look at where we're at. It's looking really good. Okay, now one thing I'm noticing is I think that the sky was oranger here, so I'm actually going to slightly change my temperature. And you could affect your tint, but that's not what I want to do. I want to make sure that this is accurate, which should be right about there. Okay, one thing you may be noticing is that I see some green reflection in the water right here. Do you guys see that? I don't like that. So I want to affect that. So I'm going to actually first come in, finish doing what I wanted to do with my curves. notice we're starting to peak here, so I may just hop back over here and pull down ever so slightly more. Right there, I like that. And you can always do this too. Right there. Now, there's some green in the water that I'm not wanting. So I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna hop over and I'm gonna grab a gradient, okay? Now, Shift H is gonna reveal what we're selecting, okay? Which we only want to be selecting that. We don't need any green in that. So, I like that. And let's hop over to our curves. Let's go to our hue and let's grab some of that, which I know it's way more green than that. So I'm gonna make this a little wider and I'm gonna start pulling that down. And that's not the last step. We need to get some hue. Boom, okay. So here, we're gonna start to see it. Look at that. Now, see that green? How much more it blends in? And let's say, Jack, I don't really like that look. I want the green there. Well, no problem. We can delete that. We can keep that green, which is really kind of like a flare of sorts. And then what we can do from here is we can then come here and we could give this image some glow. Way too much glow, really sharp. I like to go down a little bit. And remember, if you're still experiencing noise, what do? Let's come over here, grab this one. Let's go Option S to create a new node. And then I'm gonna grab some noise reduction. And I like to bring it right to about 23. 22 to 35 is a good range. Sometimes you'll go more, sometimes you'll go less. It's all preference. All right, now, we started here, we finish here. I love it. Also, an important thing when you're color grading is to not do too much. You don't need to go over the top when you're just starting color grading. Go light. And if you feel like you've made a look, but it may feel a little too intense when you look at it for the second time, don't be afraid to come over to your contrast and bring it up, bring it down, which here, kind of like it up a little. So, boom. All right, let's get to the fun stuff. Let's hop over to a handheld shot real quick. So, I'm gonna come over to my power grades. I'm gonna grab the Rec709 Convert, all right? So boom, right there, we start. We're bringing our image back to a baseline. Some people like to do that at the end. I like to do it there. Now, I know that the first thing I wanna do is create an S-curve. And then I want to hop over here, give myself some color boost. And then we're going to start pulling stuff down. We're going to pull gamma up. Oh. Now, there's one thing that I'm not liking, and that's my skin, because that's not accurate. So we're going to hop over here. We're gonna make a selection on skin tones. I like to usually grab like 2 different places in case it's gonna give me a variation, you know? So, there we go. There's a variation. And what we're gonna do is pull down drastically. Oh wow, a lot of green. And then we can find that happy medium. Now, so that you guys can see more of what I'm doing. You can see that would be terrible. That looks a lot better. Okay, but there are a few things that I don't like. For example, my lips are not completely accurate, so we're gonna come here. We're just gonna bring it down. And also, let's say you didn't like the tint of the lips. Could do this, which I think that's a little more accurate. Awesome. That's our look so far. Let's add another node. Now, what I want to do here is I want to pull out a little more back here. So one thing I may do is I could come and grab a gradient again. Because I know that I'm staying there the whole time. And I could come right here. And if you ever want to make it more of a gradient fill, do it like this. Okay, but here's what I'm going to do is I want more magenta back there. And let's see how this is looking. Can't even see where the separation is. I really like that. Okay, so check this out. Right here, same thing, 2 nodes. Boom, boom. Bringing that Rec709. And we're making an adjustment on my skin tones. Right here, tiniest little bit of adjustment. Bringing the saturation up ever so slightly, no change to that. Now, let's say you wanted to affect your wheels a little more, like your shadows, you wanted to bring some more mood, so we could affect the shadows by pulling the gain, which we know it was a sunset, right? So vibes were on. But we don't want to lose that blue. I really like the blue. Okay, so let's go to the gain, which is the highlights. And I could grab a little more orange that's popping from the sunset on my legs. And then here's where you can really affect the skin tones, is in the gamma. So look at that. I like that a lot. And it's natural. Now, one thing you could say if you wanted the shot to go that long, which I probably would, is I'd just come back here and I would make a little more of that S curve that we talked about. Let's go back to our starting frame. And then remember, let's say that's a little intense, bring that contrast back a little. I love that. Good. Look at where we started to where we are. Start, finish, boom. Okay, hopping on to the next one. I love this shot, all right? So, real quickly, this is where we are, okay? Our base image. That's where we're gonna go, but how did we get there? Okay, we need to convert our footage to what? Rec709. So, here's what we're doing. We're coming to 709, but the first big thing that we're gonna start affecting is skin tones. You can see the skin tones are a little red, magenta, and if you have a question, you can always come to Vector Scope, and this line right here, if you're not seeing that, just come here, show. Right here, sorry, I'm having to look past the camera. And then show skin tone indicator. That's how you see this line if you don't see it. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna come over to these skin tones. We're gonna hop into our second node, okay? And you can see what I'm about to do. I'm grabbing these skin tones, okay? I want you to pay attention to what's changing. I'm just bringing out the correct color in them. Right now they're too magenta, they're pale, and that's not accurate because she had a tan. So you can see I'm creating a tan right there. I'm bringing life to the image. The one thing now I would like to affect is the sky blue. So let's grab that. Good selection. And then you can see, oh no, that's not what we want. And I think we want to actually just come ever so slightly up, but then in our saturation, we're going to come down a little. So you can see that creates for like a really cool vibe, all right? But now let's go and let's actually work on our wheels, all right? So let's come back, get out of vector scope, waveform, and then let's pull these shadows down a little bit, which is the lift. Now let's pull the gain up a little, so we're not losing any info. And then you can see we could pull this gamma down or up. I honestly really like it right there. Now, just checking what we just did, just giving it a little more punch. Now, here's what's really cool. Let's talk about matching shots. So we're about to hop to another shot of our girl laying on the beach. And like I've said, we can go right here, grab still. I'm in the power grade window, but it's the same thing as the still. If I grab this, grab still, it's gonna pop up right here. Also remember, shortcut B will create that. And then let's hop over here. Give us a sec. Okay, boom. So, right now, we're in log. Boom. Look at this. I just created the same process, but sped it over to the other image. But there's some changes that we're gonna do. So you can see we're bringing it back, but same thing with the skin. Not accurate, a little too much magenta. So we're gonna come to our second node, and we're gonna correct that skin. Now, let's look at what I did. Because if you look at this skin and the other skin, it's a little different. So right here, I can still see a little bit of magenta red in her nose. So it's gonna indicate when I click right there, which dot we're working with. And so right now, look at that, pay attention. Look at how much we're fixing this. And look at how much more they already seem matched. It literally feels like we're jump cutting to the shot. But we need to bring more contrasting, which we're not doing that just by, in our primaries, pumping our contrast. Okay, that's not how we're gonna do that. Okay, we're not gonna go like that. Okay, we're going to literally put that back to 1. And we're doing what? We are either using a curve here, or we're going to use our primary wheels, which here we brought them down to -0.3. We brought these up to 1.7. And I honestly, now looking at it, which it's all look, it's all feel, I kind of like 1.03. So we were at 1.07 for this shot, but now we're at 1.03. See, that's just a little bit of that feel. And then the gamma, like 0.02 again. Let's see what that does. Boom. Then, let's say you want to make this look filmic, okay? This is just one more example, all right? Let's add some film grain, okay? When we're adding film grain, you're gonna want to pick what kind of film grain. I personally love a 35 mil, I personally love a 35 millimeter, and then you're gonna want to figure out how much of that you want. And that's all a preference thing. You can see, look at the grain. I like to bring it around 0.55. Okay, and then texture, which I'm going to show you as a little trick I do with the grain strength. Look at how much strength you could have. But I like to bring it when you're really trying to go for grain. Don't be afraid to have the grain strength like around 0.4-ish, okay? And then, or even 5, like let's give an intense example, okay? Like super grainy would be like 5.5, all right? And then in that same node, come back to your primaries, and then that mid detail, remember this will make it look even more sharp. This can give it that softness, okay? These really go well when you're contrasting the two together. Now, I like to go here for the skin tones. Come in, and then I come back to the grain strength and I bring it down to where I start like, okay, that looks really good. Now, look at what I'm talking about. See, I added grain, but it looks even softer. I really love that look. Okay, so let's show you where we started and where we finished. Here to here. Okay, here's a cool example. This is the exact same notes once we get there. And you can see 709. And then here's what we had from 709, Rec709 Convert. And then I want you to pay attention to the blue in the sky and then the blue in this building, because it's not really accurate, and also we could do a lot better. Look at that. The slightest change, and now we're starting to get a vibe. And then not only that, but we could come right back here, and then we could add a little S-curve if we really wanted to. And I'm even feeling like, why not hop here and bring that gamma up? Like that. Bring this down, bring our gain down a little. And then bring our lift down as well to really have that shadow like that. And then, just like that, guys. Look at that. Done. Okay, here's one more. Let's hop over here. Let's literally just apply this, okay? Let's start here. Just bring our Rec709 Convert. Affecting the blues in the sky a little bit, but why not? Let's make the sky blues pop a little more this time around. All right. So, we brought them down last time. You can see that. Why not bring them here? Come back to the hue. Let's see, we don't want that, but why not like there? That looks so good. Ever so slightly. Really like that. Skin tones, how do our skin tones look? I like them, but I think we could add a little more saturation to them. So let's just come right here, because I'm not afraid to affect certain parts of the image. And then, oh yeah, that's perfect. Look at that. Okay. Boom. And then, why not, let's impact these greens a little. Let's grab a couple selections of greens. Okay. And then let's bring these up. We want this garden to feel alive. By the way, this is where JFK and Winston Churchill have stayed at this resort. So that was really cool, seeing this place. And you can see I'm just slightly affecting it, but don't worry, I see there's a little too much fake green in here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our selections. Let's widen those out a little. And then, it's towards blue. Now we're bringing the life back into them. I like that. Let's see how it's looking. Look how much life we brought into our image right there. Okay. And then, you can see, we're doing what? On this node, we're bringing a little more gain. A little more gamma and a little more lift back into our image through our color wheels. And you can see I'm pulling this one here a little more towards those oranges so that our whole image is having more of that look. And then with our lift, I'm gonna pull a little towards the blues for the shadows, cool them off a little. Okay guys, last one right here. All right, handheld shot at sunset, but this is the one, the money shot. First things first, we're gonna hop in here. We can Command D all these, boom. Bring in our Rec709, boom. Hardly anything's happening with our curve, so let's go in there and see what we can do. Okay, let's add some color boost. Oh yeah, but that temp is incorrect, so we're gonna fix it. Okay, we're gonna add a little bit of that. And guys, I'm not joking. This is what that night looked like. Okay, which is insane. Like how lit is that? I don't have any mask up here. That's literally real. The sky looks like that. Okay, so then let's come over here. And let's control click on some of these. Like that. Okay. Bring that down a little. Sure, we're not going too inaccurate, you know, with it. We want to have fun, but not go fake it. Okay, and then let's grab one more. Like that, we're staying centered. Okay. And then we're on to our last one, our primaries. Okay, I like the -3. And then I think we could, yeah, 1.17. And then here we go. This is where the money's gonna come. Now, let's pull our highlights a little towards those pinks. Give it that like really euphoric feel. And then cool off our shadows. And then in between, really pushing to the orange tones. Look at that. Look at that shot. It's ridiculous. Now, let's say you wanted like, oh, I don't know if I like this pink color. It's no worries. Why don't you come right here, select it with your hue, boom, boom, and then let's see what we want it to look like. Again, you're just messing with it ever so slightly, right? So let's get that going. You don't want these to be major. And look at that, guys. From there to there. All right, I hope everyone enjoyed watching. You can see we've created some pretty cool looks. Looking at all of these frames we've created. I really like all of them. Very subtle. Nothing too intense, but really eye-popping. If y'all enjoyed watching this and would like to see more content like this, please let me know in the comments. And again, please like and subscribe. It means so much, and I really hope y'all enjoyed this, and I will catch y'all next week. Peace.